guys, it's me again. So I actually have a consigned topic today to think about and stick to, and I even have a list. But before I get to that, I want to mention, this is on the news, I posted a link to a video on my live journal, but if you didn't see this, President Bush made a surprise visit in Baghdad in Iraq, and a journalist got so mad at him that he not only threw a shoe at him, but had time to take his second shoe off and throw it at him as well. Fucking hilarious. Seriously, I saw it at work, and I haven't laughed that hard in a while. Not even that I think Bush is a jack-off, but like, he threw a shoe at somebody. Two shoes, both of them. In his defense, it was a hell of a dodge, the first one. And of course, the Secret Service attacked that guy, and he's probably in fucking Guantanamo Bay by now, but whatever. I'll put a link to the sidebar over there, to one of the better quality ones I found that's pretty amusing. But yeah, throwing shoes at people, that's just awesome. Apparently in the Arab world, the sole of the shoe is really, really insulting, so that's kind of where it was coming from. And yelled something about, I don't know, the guy was really upset with him, and fair enough, he should be. So what I want to talk about today is I'm possibly on the verge of doing something rather stupid. I've mentioned work and that sort of thing before, and me and a couple other employees were talking today about how out of hand it's getting, and how every time we turn around for being, a half minimum wage employee, there's always this little thing to add to our daily work, and that little thing to add, and now we're up to, just 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there, and now we're up to, an hour's worth of work before your shift, an hour's worth of work after your shift, in a 4-hour shift. That's more than half the time you're working for less than a minimum wage and not getting tipped for it, and that just doesn't really seem right. You think they would have some sort of laws about that, and if there are there laws about that? What constitutes acceptable work to have me do outside of my, how my job description, so to speak. The first thing I found in looking into this was when I came home, before I left work, I checked the cool labor poster. If you go to your job and look on the wall, usually in the break room or near the office, there's a big poster that talks about labor laws and how they affect you, and yada yada yada, and it's basically snippets from your state's legal code. Ours happens to be the Ohio Revised Code. That is available online. So I wrote down the ordinance numbers and that sort of thing, and came home and started looking at that, and I've been reading legal stuff, not like legal advice or legal forums, like actual law, for like on and off for like 2 hours now. My brain kind of hurts from it, and this made me wonder, like, where do we get to the point where, I can read it and understand it, but it's really convoluted and complex and hard to find what you're looking for, and it just doesn't seem terribly right, in my opinion, that the laws that govern our lives should be that difficult to work out. The second thing that kind of worried me is, yes, I'm looking at this stuff online, but who's to say that online copy is an actual legitimate, valid reflection of what's in practice right now? How do I know when that webpage was updated? How do I know if the legislatures have changed those laws and that sort of thing? And don't have an answer to that. It's just one of those things I was like, that sucks. Specifically, things I was looking at was labor law and acceptable wages and exceptions to minimum wage and things like that. I'm still working through some of the legal stuff and trying to figure out how that stuff works, especially having no legal background at all beyond getting really good grade in government class. I'm not a stupid person. I can read it and I can figure it out, but there's a lot of other stuff that goes with our legal system. That's why we have lawyers, I guess. But basically, we're looking at, how even if they are violating some sort of law where I work, and the way that the things they're having us do for the wages they're paying us, how do you even go about doing anything about that? So labor laws are, it's hard to enforce, because unless they have an inspector who's going to show up and watch us do our job every morning, then how are they going to know? And of course, if they do have someone come in for that same, what's to say that on that day they just change things up, and that's our free day pass, and any other day we have to do other stuff. The second thing is, pushing too many buttons, pushing things too hard like that in a job that I already am not very fond of, but I kind of have to have because I have to pay the bills. What are the odds of being fired for that? Technically that too is against the law. You can't fire someone for reporting. An employer cannot fire an employee for reporting the employer's illegal actions in any case. Like that's the flat out law. That's his whole section. Trust me, I read it. But at the same time, was to say that they can't fire you for something else, something they've never enforced before, and just make up their mind that today you're getting fired for that. And what if they don't fire you? Like I said, this is a job that already pretty well sucks. Like, they can make it suck a lot worse. I understand that. And, yeah, you know, like, would you want to go through all that trouble of fixing something only to either voluntarily leave to avoid the situation you're creating, or to avoid a, you know, retaliatory type environment, which is what you're going to end up with. Even if you do go through that trouble, will it fix it? You know, is that going to actually change anything? I mean, do I really think that a restaurant is going to, sorry, I'm cracking my knuckles, is going to change? You know, that industry, the restaurant industry is just set up to be, you know, I call it disposable labor. Like, you could hire 20 of me a day and fire 15, and you're still going to have 20 more ready. Like, maybe not at any given second, you know, there's not a line out the door, but without any actual advertising, we don't put any ads in the paper, radio, TV, news, anything like that. We constantly have a stream because people just go, oh, waiting tables, that can't be too bad. Oh, there's an Applebee's. Cool. Oops, I was going to try and avoid saying the name. Yes, Applebee's. The next thing I want to talk about is level of responsibility when it comes to that is, you know, at where does the blame end up falling? Because, you know, obviously I work for Applebee's. I actually work for a franchise one, which has like 80 plus locations. So where's the blame end? Is it the manager on duty? Are they the ones to blame for enforcing that I have to do those things every day? And the things they're asking me to do are not criminal and by any stretch of the imagination. They're part of getting the restaurant going, and they're part of that. But it's just the way they divide up labor. I.e., if you have a kitchen staff whose job is to cook food and to handle food and that sort of thing, is it fair to have the wait staff whose job it is to wait on the guests? Is it fair to have them do part of the food prep work in the mornings? And why would you do that? Well, because you pay them half as much, so you can save money by having your half minimum wage employees making food as opposed to having your $10 an hour kitchen staff doing it. But anyway, so do you blame the manager on duty? Is it the fault of the general manager of the store, since they're technically in charge of that store? Is it some intermediary in the chain of command up through the corporate office? Is it the corporate office's fault? I mean, it's going to boil down to probably where the decision was made, but it's just so easy to shuffle the blame. And on top of that, you know, I've had like 7 managers in the past like 6 months cycle through my store. Not general manager, only 2 general managers. We just switched, but you know, how hard is it to just shuffle all your staff around? And when they do that, you know, a lot of the long-standing things that the previous general manager set up as far as operations go, like what you did when they were here is kind of how you do it when the new guy's here, until he finds something he wants to change. And if a system like that's working, why change it? So those are the things that are on my mind today. And like I said, we'll see how far it goes. Honestly, I probably won't do anything about it, because that's just the easiest thing to do, as bad as that sounds. But at the same time, like, what the hell, you know? Is it worth, like, going through the trouble of finding another job and all that? I guess I also have in the back of my head is the idea that, you know, I haven't really been disruptive in a long time and made a corporate entity look at its own policies and practices, which I've done that a few times, not intentionally, just by being me. But anyways, so that's what's on my mind. That's what I'm working on tonight. So if you have any feedback, any ideas, if you're a lawyer who specializes in labor law in Ohio, hey, there you go. Feel free to hit me up. Comments down there. You can email me. I check my email. My live journal friends, you can live journal me or comment me there, whatever. So that's about it. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye.